has equipped him with the intellectual and physical tools to deal with the most dangerous of criminals. Paul O Sullivan is a well-known private investigator that has played a crucial role in high-profile cases in South Africa. A blurb from his book entitled "To Catch a Cop" states clearly that he enjoys hunting criminals down and they provide him with energy and stamina. That seems to grow in proportion to the challenges they present him with. Paul, thanks again for staying on with us. We really, really appreciate it. So, I mean, obviously Jackie Selebi, I mean, that is just, it's going down in the history books, and you were the man behind this, and you were adamant you were going to catch him wherever he was in the world. You know, what did it feel like chasing the top cop and head of Interpol?
Well, when I realized that the tables were turning, because I remember having champagne lunch with my aunt and uncle. They flew to the UK, and I happened to be in the UK, and we met at Ascot. They were there for the races, and we had a champagne lunch to celebrate the fact that Jackie Selebi would soon be arrested, and that was 2006. And of course he wasn't arrested. Sorry, that was 2007, and he wasn't arrested. Things dragged on quite a lot after that. In fact, Vusi Pikoli was suspended by the president, and the thing went into underdrive for a while. So I decided to change my tactics, and I took him on in Marrakesh in Morocco, where he went to the international Interpol conference, because Jackie Selebi wasn't just the chief of police of South Africa, he was the world's top cop.
Yeah.
And I decided, you know, there's only one way to take this man down, and that is to shame him. So I published a booklet, a 12-page booklet, and I managed to wangle my way into the conference room itself. And I placed this booklet on all the tables. And all the delegates were sitting there reading it while Jackie Selebi was making his keynote address.
Oh my gosh.
And I imagine I probably brought a lot of shame on him, but I thought it was necessary.
Yeah. What was his reaction to that?
Well, obviously he was very angry. In fact, it wrong-footed him completely, because when he got back to South Africa, he tried to have me arrested in Marrakesh, by the way,
yeah.
But I skipped town before it was possible. But when he got back to South Africa, it wrong-footed him so badly that he issued an ultimatum to the National Prosecuting Authority to give an undertaking not to arrest him. And they refused to give that undertaking. So he brought a High Court application. And on the day he brought the High Court application, he had his stormtroopers go to Gerinel's home, and Gerinel was going to be his prosecutor, and he's now prosecuting Oscar Pistorius.
Yeah.
He had his stormtroopers go to Gerinel's home and arrest him. Now, Richard Ndluli was behind that, the suspended head of crime intelligence. He was behind that. And the intention was to have Gerinel behind bars while he could successfully bring this application to have the NPA ordered not to arrest him. But Gerinel was released the next day because there were no charges. The whole thing was trumped up. And then the National Prosecuting Authority's machine does what it does best, and it took him on. And they ended up with a court order saying they could go ahead and arrest him. And rather, they then decided not to arrest him, but to indict him instead. And that happened a week later. And sadly, he still received his pay as chief of police for a further year and a half.
Now, talk to me about how you feel when you work so hard on a case like this. He is successfully prosecuted. As you say, Gerinel, the man behind that and responsible for the conviction of Jackie Selebi. And now he's been paroled, he's out. How does it make you feel?
Look, you know, I learned a long time ago not to stress about things that I cannot change. And I decided that I could not change that. So I just decided, you know, if that's the way it's going to be, that's the way it's going to be.
Yeah. All right. You've got this all in your book, so people must go out there, get this book written by Marianne Tam, which is out in bookstores right now. I want to now pick your brain a little bit about the Oscar Pistorius trial, because obviously it's at the top of minds of everybody. You have sat 37 years in this industry, so you can shed a bit of light for us now. I was chatting to you off air and I asked you, do you think that the state has put through a good enough case? A lot of people are doubting it and saying, why didn't they bring more? What are your views? What do you think?
Well, my view is that the state have put a good case forward. I think they've discharged their responsibility quite well. But what you have to remember, when you're prosecuting somebody, especially for a serious crime like murder, or in the case of Jackie Selebi, corruption as a chief of police, your prosecutorial actions really only kick in when the defence bring their defence.
Yeah.
So if you had to weight it, I would say 20% of the state's case is delivered while it's presenting its case, and the other 80% is delivered while it's cross-examining the defence's witnesses. Now, I've got no doubt, if we look at the Jackie Selebi trial as an example, the best prosecutorial witness in the Jackie Selebi trial was Jackie Selebi himself. And, I've got no doubt whatsoever that we're dealing with a very astute and very wired-up prosecutor like Gerrie Nel, who doesn't miss a trick and is extremely intelligent and very wily.
Yeah.
I've got no doubt that the best prosecutorial witness in the state versus Oscar Pistorius will in fact be Oscar Pistorius himself.
And a lot of speculation whether or not he is going to take the stand first or last. Again, you feel it's better for him to come at the end?
Well, I'm not his defence counsel, but if I was his defence counsel, I would call him as my last witness, because to call him as the first witness might be problematic, because you're not quite sure how the state are going to deal with all your other witnesses. Now, if I was doing it, I would call all my witnesses first and then Oscar Pistorius, because I would have an opportunity to see how the state attempt to pick holes in the defence witnesses that I bring, other than my main witness.
Yeah.
And that would give me an opportunity then to work out my tactics for interviewing my main witness, and indeed for briefing him as to how he's going to be cross-examined, having witnessed the state pulling apart my defence on the other witnesses.
Yeah. Just in terms of in terms of your views and what you've seen so far, there's so much speculation out there, and we, for the first time as the public, are actually seeing the wheels of justice working and the judicial system in action. We've never ever had this opportunity because it's playing out live. This is a normal procedure. Obviously, this is how a court case is going to work, and you can make no call now. I mean, this is something you've got to wait till the end. Is that?
Well, I think not only I can privately make a call, but I think it would be inappropriate for me to publicly make a call.
Yeah.
I have my own views on where this is going. But there's, I was looking, I think last night, I was examining some data. And, coincidentally, 84 years to the day when Reeva Steenkamp was shot, we had what we call the Valentine's Day Massacre, which was the Chicago underworld, or the New York underworld in the United States. And I think it was Bugsy Malone and what was the name of the other guy? Al Capone.
Yeah.
And they had a major set to. And it was on that day that the scientific, or the evidential science of ballistics was conceived. So 84 years to the day when ballistics were conceived, ballistics have now been used in the trial of Oscar Pistorius. And I think it's just interesting to note that. It's a science that's only been around for 84 years, but it's improved a lot over the last 84 years.
Wow, interesting. Very interesting times we're living in. So thank you so very much for being with us. But before I let you go, I know we've got sports news coming up. It's this final question, which we ended our last interview talking about, was you moving into the political realm now. We're sitting in an election year, a Gang SA. This is the new party on the block. You mentioned that you want to correct the wrongs. You've been an ANC voter, but now you feel that their time is over.
Well, I think, 20 years voting for the same party and not seeing a difference, it was time for change. And for me, corruption is pulling our country down. What the people are doing with corruption is they're not just stealing money from the taxpayer, they're stealing the future of the youth of our country. And I was approached by a gang. I had no political aspirations, and they said to me, Paul, we'll give you a platform to go into Parliament and actually do something about corruption. And it's so close to my soul, having witnessed the high levels of corruption that I've seen over the years, that I've decided, okay, well, let's give it a shot. Let's see if I can't go in. I'm saying corruption, something can be done about it. Vote a gang.
Yeah. If another party had approached you, would you have taken the offer?
If they didn't have baggage. The good thing about a gang is they don't really, you know, they're too young to have baggage.
Okay. So that was your party of choice. Paul O'Sullivan, I could talk to you all day, but I know that I have to wrap this interview. Thank you for talking to us. Thank you for sharing your years of experience. And also, just remember there is a book out there if you want to read more about the life and times of Paul O'Sullivan and everything that went into the case around Jackie Selebi. To Catch a Cop is where you can read it all. The Paul O'Sullivan story. Marianne Tam is the author of that particular book. Thank you again, Paul, for your time.
It's a pleasure. Thank you very much.